Hey, everybody. My name is Mike Miller. Welcome to Mike Miller Live. Welcome to the show. Uh, I am so happy to have everybody here. Today is going to be a little bit different. Today, I am running the show by myself. I'm running the controls by myself, but I want this to be interactive. So today, my plan is, we all know and we all understand how important it is to make connections. Hey, Austin, and how important it is to what I call plant seeds, right? So when you're trying to grow through your career, I always tell people every connection is a seed, right? And as you take care of those seeds over time, they grow into a garden. And a garden can have the ability to feed you, to bring you opportunity. So thank you, everybody, again for joining. I'm really excited for today's show. It's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be first running you through what I feel, and keep in mind, this is all open. These are just my opinions. I'm not a pro at LinkedIn. I'm not an expert at LinkedIn. But over the past year, I've tried things that work. I've tried things that haven't worked. And if anyone can learn something the hard way, it is absolutely me. So today, I'm going to be doing some screen shares and running through what I think helps you create a great profile. But to start, if any of you have seen my comments from earlier, probably half an hour, 45 minutes ago, I decided to do a couple of things today. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to bring maybe someone on and do a live preview, a live review of their profile, and I might possibly bring a couple people on. It just depends how the show goes, but my goal is that you ask questions. I'm going to try to field comments as I see them. I may have to go back and get to them, but my goal is that at the end of the day, people, I'm trying to teach people how to get out of the mindset of what I call spraying and praying resumes. They're filling out applications everywhere. They are just blasting these things out there. And my goal for you is that you can, if you're looking for opportunity or even looking to advance your career, or you're happy in your career, but you want to grow connections, so you have that insurance policy of having those connections if anything happens to your career. The way to do that is to basically grow connections, meet people, get out there, and show people the value that you have. So again, thank you everybody for being here. Today, I have a fella, and I'm going to be honest and transparent. I met him not too long ago, and this is the power of LinkedIn. This is the power of this platform, right? So let me just give you a little backstory. So a man named Austin Dennis reached out to me not too long ago, just introduced himself. He's new on the cybersecurity scene. He has a full-time job outside of cybersecurity, but also has a part-time job in cybersecurity to try to learn as much as he can, right? He's been very creative, and he's working hard. And I love seeing this. I love seeing hard work ethic. He's doing a lot of self-training. He just enrolled to get his BS in cybersecurity. He's been on the TryHackMe platform, and here he is. And I just told him here, he's sitting in the back in the studio here. He can hear us, but we can't see him yet. But I told him, I said, this is just an example of how awesome LinkedIn is. Because if it weren't for LinkedIn, we wouldn't know each other. And so my hope today is that I can bring a little light to Austin and help him get a boost in his career. Because many of you sitting in this room are already in cybersecurity. You've already gone down that route. And as you know, my job, I feel like one of my small dents that I put in this community is to bring a positive light and to bring support and to back people up in their journey. So as we're doing that, if you would like, I'm probably going to pick one or two more profiles. There's one that I really like. He was a mentee. His name is Drayton. And when I met him, he had probably 500 to 800 connections, something like that. We just met a couple months ago. But he has a ton of information to share in this field. He's been around the block. He's been in cybersecurity for years. Has so much to share. And I told him, I said, Drayton, I said, you're like the best kept secret, because you've been in this field like 20 some years, but no one knows about you. So his profile has just blown up. So again, today, if you want me to take a look at your profile, and I may do it afterward or in an evening or something, but there's a chance, depending on time, that I may even bring you in and do a profile review live here. But in the meantime, please give a really nice welcome to Austin, who I am going to bring on. Austin Dennis. I'm really excited, and here he comes.
Hello.
Austin, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, buddy?
Doing well.
So we've been communicating now for a little while on
Yep.
LinkedIn. How long ago did we meet?
Well, yes, the first time we've actually spoken was just a couple minutes ago.
Just a couple minutes ago. Yep.
But
That's the power of LinkedIn. I love doing these sometimes last minute ad hoc things, but you've had a really, just in a short time of getting to know you, and I've spent some time on your profile because we've been talking here for a while.
mhm.
I spent some time on your profile, and you're killing it as far as teaching yourself and going through what you need to do to get into this field, right? I
Mhm.
know that you're working part time, and it's not easy. I know, some people think that it's easy to get into this field. It's not easy. It's hard
Mhm.
work. But I tell anybody has a chance. It's a level playing field. Everybody has a chance of putting in the hard work and being successful. So first, tell me, if you don't mind, tell me what your full-time job is right now.
Yeah, so my full-time job, I work at a Walmart distribution center in
Okay.
the freezer. So basically all of the grocery freight that goes to the store, all the freezer section, I'm responsible for driving in there on a powered equipment
Okay.
and just lifting the boxes off and putting them on pallets. A lot of the stuff that I do is for Sam's Club specifically. So,
Gotcha. Okay. One of my
yep.
favorite places, actually. So let me ask this. What inspired you, or what made you make the decision to go to get into cybersecurity?
Yeah, so a lot of people, as soon as they graduate high school, they immediately just go to college for whatever they wanted to do when they were 18 years old, you
Yep.
know? And for me, I just wanted to kind of take a couple years. You know, as soon as I graduated high school, I ended up getting married. I've got 3 kids now. I'm only 23 years old. So, took some time to do that, just get a job that would be paying the bills
Yep.
and just take some time to really figure out exactly what I wanted to make a career out of. So, I ended up getting into cybersecurity because that was just one of the um, boot camp courses that my job would actually pay for. So I did that just to kind of test it out and see what it was, and found out I really enjoyed it. Blew through that, and I've just been nonstop working on it ever since I started.
Do
So,
you find that because you really enjoyed it, doesn't seem like work?
um, sometimes like when I'm learning stuff, it's
Yeah.
definitely work, and I can tell it. But when I'm doing things that I just have already figured out and learned,
Yep.
then yeah, it feels just fun.
What were some of the first things you did, like when you wanted to get into cybersecurity? Where was the first place you went, or did you start Googling, YouTubing, try Hack Me? Like, how did you
Um,
even get a start?
Yeah, so the way that I started was because I was scrolling through the different courses that my job offered. And so I started in a boot camp from a place called Thinkful and
Yep.
did that. And with that program, I got a mentor. And one of the first things that he told me was to go on TryHackMe. And
Gotcha.
so I've been on TryHackMe ever since the day that he told me about it. I haven't done it yet today, but today I'm going to hit 119 days in a row on my
That's
streak on that
awesome.
platform. So
Yeah.
keeping dedicated and making sure I'm learning something new every day.
So you're putting work in. I mean, that's 119 days. That's dedication, right?
Yep.
It's no joke. It's hard
hmm
work. Um, you're not taking an easy route. You're not taking any shortcuts. You're putting hard work in. So tell me now about one thing you and I have in common that we started talking about was drones, right? You
Yep.
and I both fly drones, something I enjoyed for a long time, even commercially.
Yeah.
Um, but you also leveraged an opportunity there
hmm
to, at the company that you're working for part time, to get into cybersecurity. So how did you do that?
Yeah. So I worked for them. That was my first job. I knew the guy, and it was, best first job in the world. I literally just got to fly drones and everything. So that was fantastic. But recently, an opportunity popped up. They needed somebody to basically do all their invoices, expense categorization, and things like that. And it could be from a remote setting. And so I just reached out and offered to do it for him because I figured I'd have a pretty good chance doing it since I
Yep.
already worked for him before. And when I was doing the introduction call with my boss, I was just mentioning how I'd been studying cybersecurity and everything like that. And a lot of people, when they, outside of the industry, when they think about cybersecurity, they think about, just defenders,
Yeah.
and just keeping bad things out. And I was just explaining to him that, there's an offensive side of it too. And I think he just kind of seemed really intrigued about that. And so he just asked me to try to hack into their stuff,
Yeah.
and just see if it was vulnerable and everything like that. So,
Yeah.
I've been able to do routine penetration testing of the websites that they have. They have FTP servers and things like that. And then they also occasionally will help build other websites on the side for other clients that they work for. And they have me check on those too.
Yeah.
So,
Great job. I mean, so you're working full time for Walmart. You're studying. You just put 119 straight days in,
mhm.
and you're leveraging your talent to help others, right? To help the
Mhm.
company that you're working for part time, to get some hands on, right?
Yep.
So there's no magic. It's no smoke and mirrors. It is hard work. So
Yep.
kudos to you, really, Austin, for putting that time in. You have a fantastic, future ahead of you. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep Austin here for a bit if he's willing to stay,
Yep.
and I'm going to bring his first. I'm going to bring his LinkedIn profile up because I told him, I said, you know what? Do you want to do a live profile review? Let's just do it. So I'm going to bring it up. But before then, as I always do, I'm going to thank a couple different people, right? First, I'm going to thank my company that I work for, which is Appalachia Technologies. This is a great company that actually acquired my company about a year ago. They're a top MSSP and a top 250. We do all kinds of things: CISO services, security assessments, managed services, what have you. So I want to thank them personally for. They get the big picture. They get what branding is. They're just a great company. So I want to thank them personally. And the next people that I want to thank is GRC Academy. GRC Academy is a outstanding platform. If you want to get into GRC and learn the NIST frameworks and learn really what it takes to get into GRC and learn compliance, they are definitely a place to check out. The demand for specialists in GRC it's greater now than it's ever been. Compliance being a huge driver for security, careers in GRC are growing exponentially. GRC Academy is a great place to start your GRC career. After completing, they have a CMMC course at their site. It really gives you a solid understanding of, for one, the Department of Defense's security standards. So if you want to work for defense contractors or places like that, it absolutely gives you a good start of doing that. So want to thank them for being a show sponsor. So okay, let's get to the fun stuff now. Keep your comments rolling in. We will come back to these. But for now, I'm going to do a screen share here of Austin's profile. Austin, are you ready for the
Yep.
world to see your
Yep.
profile? Okay, let's give it a shot. Hold on 1 second here. Okay, so to the world, meet Austin Dennis, hardworking individual on LinkedIn. Actually, we're not going to do a whole lot of critiquing on his particular account. I spent some time looking at it. He's done a fantastic job. So if you get a chance, check out his profile. You can dig him up just by searching his name, or after the show, I'll put it in the comments as well. So, Austin, let's just start at the top. So one of the things that I tell people is people spend people spend less than about 20 seconds looking at a profile before they decide if they are going to click into something else on your profile or move on. So some of the most important things on a profile, number one is profile picture, right? You have to create that personable connection with people. I do see people that have blank profile pictures or a blurry profile picture, or every once in a while I'll come across someone that just looks really serious and they don't look happy in their profile picture. I think you nailed it here. You got a good smile. Smile goes a long way. I think it's really personable. The background. I think your cover is awesome. Um, Many people out there have a default profile. My suggestion is if any of you have a default profile from LinkedIn, they're great, or default cover photo, they're great. However, anything you can do to make your profile just a little bit more custom is going to help you out. Next thing, if we go down, is the headline. Everybody reads the headline. These are one of the top things that people look at right away. So in your headline, you have cybersecurity professional, penetration tester. I hack you so you never have to worry about being hacked. I think that's good. What I would also recommend is you have a lot of room here. So in your profile, try to align your profile with your future goals, things that you're working on. Do you want to be in offensive security, defensive security? Obviously, I find that you want to be in offensive security. So use that headline. You've got about 2 or 3 lines there that you can actually use. So people in the audience, I'll tell you, and Austin at the same time, expand on that, right? Throw some more keywords in there. Talk about what you're passionate in, what your interests are, things like that. Just that's really good real estate on a profile. So I think you've done a good job there. Something new that LinkedIn's done not too long ago, they now allow you to throw a link in. You got a link to your cyber YouTube channel. So I'll be checking that out later. And for people watching, feel free to check that out as well. Going on to any questions there, Austin, as we get out?
No, it's all making sense.
I mean, feel this is your show right now, buddy. So feel free to interrupt me as we go down. So highlights. Here's what I'll tell you. In my opinion, I think it's good to have some featured content on a profile. And I'm going to just, I'll click over to mine just for a brief second here. If I scroll down on my profile real quick, you can see, I have some featured content in here, things that I want people to see, right? So with you, it could be projects that you're working on. You can make a post and feature it, or a picture, or whatever it is. And for folks in the audience, if you really want a post that you have that you're proud of to stand out, put it on your featured section. It does a great job of showcasing your skills. If you pass, or you got a new certification, a new achievement, put that out there. It does make a huge difference. One of the things that I know when I had my company before I sold it last year, when I hired people, I looked at resumes, but I'm telling you, I only looked at resumes for less than about 2 minutes. First thing I did was I jumped on LinkedIn. If they had an account there, one of the first things I was going to do was look at their activity. So what can you tell from their activity? So many times you can tell personality from looking at activity. You can pick someone out real quick that likes to have online arguments or online debates. I think you can tell a lot about a person just by looking at how supportive they are to the cybersecurity community. So it's always, for me, a letdown when I go to activity and I don't see anything. In your case, I think you've done well here. I see just in the past hour, you posted something, you're interacting with comments and other posts and so on. So I think you've done a good job here. So, I know that right now, just by reading this quick, you're interested in Nmap. I know that you have a YouTube channel. I know that you just completed your orientation at WGU. So it tells me you got a lot going on. I think you've done a good job at getting that out there, if that makes sense. So any questions on that?
No, it's all making sense.
Okay, awesome. Going on down, so your about section. Your about section is really good real estate. And for folks in the audience, I want you to, when you get a chance, read your about section, right? And tell me, if someone were to spend 20 or 30 seconds on your profile, are they going to be able to summarize who you are and what your skill set is? Here's what I'll tell you. It's really good real estate. However, I think there's kind of a compromise. So you want to stay away from writing a book, because people are going to have a hard time reading that. I like to I think you've done a good job at separating things here. You have different paragraphs, right? Bulleted lists work great. Things that you're really skilled in, Austin. So, maybe you're skilled in Nmap, maybe you're skilled in Wireshark, things like that. Maybe highlight some of those in there. Make a bulleted list. And again, this is all just my opinion, right? What I've seen work for people, what's worked for me as well. So, I guess what I'm saying for everybody is typically a few paragraphs. I think it's a really good idea to break the ice in your about section. I like flying drones. I like walking the dogs. I like surfing, whatever it is. Break the ice in your about section when you first, when they first start reading. Let them know who you are as a person. Because let's face it, we're all professionals. Many of you, most of you all of you are really smart people, and we know that, right? But who are you as a human being? And that's really important, that you get that out there of who you are as a human being. Experience, the next section. I think you've done a really good job here. One of the big no's that I see on profiles are people that they have their title listed and where they work, but they don't have anything laid out. So like here, you've done a good job at highlighting some of your skills, right? Sometimes people put a very short description and it doesn't really showcase their skills. Of course, you want to be careful because you don't want to list things and soft, you have to be really careful here because you don't want to put anything out about your company, but at the same time, you can put out skill sets that you have. Break that down. And I tell people your LinkedIn profile should be very close to your resume. And I've said this in my previous shows. Word of mouth is the best means of getting yourself out there. But that's changed over the years. Word of mouth 100 years ago happened through the newspaper. Word of mouth in technology and cybersecurity today, much of it happens right here on LinkedIn. So if everybody here thinks of their LinkedIn profile as their resume, moving forward, if you are looking to level up your career, a new career in cyber, or just some job security, right? Get yourself to the point where you want to get this profile in front of as many people as you can. That's kind of your insurance policy. So anyhow, I beat that up to death. I think you've done a really good job here. So for people watching, and again, feel free to comment. I'm trying to read these as I go, but I will scroll back up here. If you have questions, please certainly let me know. Education is the next part. You have WGU here listed. I think it's great that you have what you've learned in here. Anything else you can do to break that down is going to be helpful. Thinkful, I'm actually very familiar with them. That's great that you begin to prepare for these types of things. You have your skill set listed in here again. Going on down through, you have a lot of your accomplishments here. So TryHackMe, I just made a post about them here a couple of days ago. TryHackMe is fantastic. You got a certificate from Thinkful, which is awesome. You have some other stuff here as well. Skills is where many people don't use this. They don't use this to their full potential. So if I get down to skills, you have a total of 50 skills that LinkedIn allows you to use, right? I tell people is use that, right? Use at least 40 of those skills and hone your skills to what you are passionate about, the knowledge that you have, but also to your future goals. So the one thing you always want to be on this platform is honest, right? This is one field you can't fake it till you make it. You have to be honest. So, however, if you feel like you are passionate about something and you have some base knowledge, don't be afraid to put that in there. However, just be prepared to talk about that when the time comes. So, and I haven't looked at all of your skills, Austin, but do they currently pretty much align to your goals?
Yeah, I would say that.
Okay. So yeah, you know what, I'll just click on it quick. So if we go down, OSI model, cybersecurity, security operations, yeah, these are actually really good now that I'm looking at them. Here's a mistake that I see people making. I see many people putting Microsoft Office, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel. It's awesome that you know those things, but if you're really aiming toward a career in cybersecurity, use that real estate for something that's going to help you, for something that you're interested in, right? Because all of us by now, if we're pursuing this field, we have most likely have skills in those things. So use that to your best ability. So going back to your profile, something else that I noticed earlier, which is awesome, you got you actually got a recommendation 2 days ago. Is
Mm-hmm.
that correct?
Yep.
Many people don't have recommendations, and here's what I'll tell you: recommendations are not reviews. So if you want to get recommendations, and it can be a friend, it can be a family member, it can be a coworker, someone you previously worked with, and from looking here, you've got a recommendation from someone that you work with at Walmart. Is that correct?
Yep. We
And
went through the same school together.
yeah,
Very
that's
thankful.
awesome, and it's great that it's great to have a recommendation that speaks to your person, that speaks to who you are. Recommendations don't have to say, oh, you know what, Austin's the best penetration tester out there. He's in the top 10. They should speak to who you are as a person, right? So I think, reading this one earlier, I think you've done a really good job there. So for people who don't have recommendations, it matters. People read those, right? It's a little bit of validation as well. So I would highly encourage that. So another thing that I would recommend. So as far as your profile, I think it looks fantastic, right? So for anyone that's watching this right now, give Austin a connect request. Hopefully, Austin, your connection requests are blowing up right now. I hope that for you.
I'll see
Um,
after it's done.
yeah, absolutely. So one thing that I will tell you, and the folks in the crowd too, on today's date, 2/24/23, I want you to get a pen or a pencil, and I want you to look at I want you to look at a couple things. First, I want you to look at your profile views, and I want you to write that down. I want you to write down how many profile views you have, right? I want you to write down how many connections you have or followers that you have, and I want you to write down the number of impressions you have. If you write down those three things with today's date, right, give yourself some small goals. Because again, your job, like Austin, your job is to pass out this LinkedIn profile to as many people as you can, and gain seeds so you can grow into a garden, right? That eventually takes care of you. So keep track of those metrics. Those metrics are extremely important, right?
Mm-hmm.
So any questions, Austin?
No, well, I did want to point out one thing that I've tried to make an effort of doing.
Yeah.
One of the things with skills that I don't know how many people are aware of is that you can't just go and type expert. You can't just go type cybersecurity and then pop up to a recruiter just because you type that in there. You have to get endorsements
Yep,
in order for that
absolutely.
stuff to show out. So one thing that I recently started doing, you can look, and I've got around like 20 endorsements for each of my different skills.
Yeah, I see that.
I've found being on LinkedIn that one of the ways that you can put yourself out there is basically just offering to help other people.
Yep.
And so I made a habit of anytime I would go, I'd add a new person to my network. I just kind of scroll through their profiles, see what they did, what they posted about, and if I felt like they seemed competent in whatever they were claiming to do,
Yep.
I'd just reach out and message them and just offer to endorse their skills for them. A lot of times I wouldn't even ask for them to endorse me back, but it's just kind of a common courtesy thing that they'd offer to do the same thing after I did that for them.
Yeah.
And skill endorsements of skills is one thing that it's like everybody knows it's something that you need, but everybody feels weird about messaging somebody and doing it. You got to just put
Yeah.
yourself out there for that kind of stuff.
I love that you said that, and that's exactly what you did. When you reached out to me, right?
Yep.
I'm happy that you did. If you wouldn't have done that, we wouldn't be sitting here. So kudos to
Right.
you. It's breaking down those barriers, and
Mhm.
it's sometimes getting out of your comfort zone. And I was talking to someone last night, and I told them, and they're brand new into this field,
Mhm.
and even yourself, you're new in this field. However, you're already someone who can help other people. You're brand new in this field, but you got your first part-time job in cybersecurity. You've gone through a ton of training. Are you the top 10 pen tester in the world? No, probably not yet. Someday I hope so, right? But think of how many people want to get to the point that you're at,
Mhm.
and you can be a thought leader without 25 years of experience. You can be a thought leader anytime you want to share knowledge that you have,
Mhm.
and you can help other people. you can be a thought leader. So I already see you as being a thought leader in this industry because of just because of some of the things that you just talked about, right?
Yeah.
And I tell people often, people say, what should I post on LinkedIn? And I say story tell. If your neighbor came over, or if, let's say your neighbor's son or daughter walked over, they just graduated high school and they're getting ready to start college, and they say, Austin, I'm thinking of pursuing the cybersecurity field. Where should I start? What should I do? If all of you that are watching this take that stance of let's help other people get to where you're at in this industry, you are automatically a thought leader. It doesn't, I don't care how many connections you have, how many followers, it doesn't matter. Because if you can help 2 or 3 people, you're their thought leader, right? You're their person that they look up to. So Austin, kudos to you, man, for coming this far and for reaching out and kind of breaking that barrier down. And it's going to be fun to watch you over these next couple of years. Now that we're connected, hopefully we'll meet someday at a conference or we'll fly once together, whatever. But I think that it's fantastic. So everybody, again, if you get a chance, please give a nice follow to Austin. And again, I want to thank GRC Academy for allowing this to happen, because if they weren't around, we wouldn't be here. So, okay. So another profile that I want to go over here real quick, and I think let me see if I can pull it up here. And Austin, feel free to stick around, but you can go, or feel free to stick around. You're welcome.
I'm hang out.
Awesome. So, Drayton has become a friend of mine. He reached out to me, I'm going to say 4 months ago, and I don't remember the exact count. He might be watching. I wanted them to come on the show today, but he had some other commitments, so that didn't work out. But he deserves this, right? I think when we met, he had maybe 800 connections, 800 followers, something like that. But if you scroll down, Drayton has been around the block. He's been around the industry for a long time. He's been at EY. He's worked for American Airlines in cybersecurity. He's been here for a long time. But his thing was, the reason he came to me, because he doesn't need me for success in cybersecurity. He's been there. He's done that. He wants to build connections. He wants to build an online community. He wants to help people, right? So I helped him with his profile. He went from about 800 followers to about 6,300 right now. And he's a good example of someone that's doing exactly, Austin, probably what you're going to do, right? Is just be a thought leader. So he has, over time, been telling his stories of over the past 4 months since we've met. He's done a great job of telling his stories to help other people, which has made his profile soar, right? So, but the reason I brought his profile up is just to give you an example of what I find a near perfect profile. When you hit it right away, right? Great profile picture. He has been on these different, he has been on, Fox, CBS. He's been featured on several shows for the talent that he has, which is awesome, right? And he has it in his headline because he's very proud of it, or he has it in his cover photo. Going down, if you look at his, and I want to show this to people, if you look at his headline, many people might just have something like this, right? But LinkedIn gives you all this space. So really quick, you can tell the experience that he has. If I could look at his profile for less than 10 seconds, and I can know a ton of information about him. So just wanted to give you this as an example. So if we scroll down, he also has creator mode on. So for those that haven't turned creator mode on yet, I recommend it. The reason why is it kind of puts you in a different category, and it allows you to put some different things up here. So he has creator mode turned on, and it says, it talks about business speaking, leadership, cybersecurity, and information security. So, and it also gives you access to a few more things that you wouldn't have access to if you didn't have creator mode on. So I would recommend turning that on. Going down through, you can see 6,300 connections. This is what I think is cool. I always look at when someone messages me, or when I'm looking at other people's profiles, I look at how many mutual connections we have. And the reason is it's really cool to see that we have other people that we know that are in the same community, right? So I could tell really quick just by looking at his profile that he's gotten himself out there. He's got a lot of good connections. This is kind of his insurance policies that are insurance policy that if something were to happen to his career or he had the rug pulled out from under him, that he hopefully will be able to pick up really quick and find something else. Perfect featured section, as you can see. He told a really good story the other day of how so he's taken the role now of mentoring, like I do, and like several other of you do, and his account has just soared because people see that, and I always tell people if you give more to the community than you expect to get back, you'll get more back than you ever expected. It kind of goes both ways. So he's done a really good job of putting some of his featured content up there. And if you scroll down, he's a storyteller and he tells true stories from his life. And he has had a really, really great career. So going down through his about section, he's done a great job. I'm going to beat him up a little bit here. He could maybe have some bullet points in here, some easy things. It's maybe a little easier to read, but I can't do this without beating him up a little bit. So I have to do that in a friendly way. Going down through his experience, he's done a great job of laying this stuff out. He was at EY for a while. He's again he's at American Airlines. He has his education on point. It's in there as well. He's done volunteering, which if anything like that you've done, put that in there. He has his licenses, his certifications. He was a PCI QSA for a while. And under his skills, he's showcasing all 50 of his skills. Top ones, risk management, budgeting, digital transformation, and so on. I'm going to beat him up here a little bit. He hasn't had a recommendation in a while. So if you haven't had a recommendation in a while, try to get one because it does help. And Tracy, I see that you do have a question. How do you turn on the featured section? I believe you might have to have creator mode on to have that feature, but I may be wrong. The reason I don't know that is because I've had creator mode on for so long. I have that option. I'm not sure if you have that if it's not on. So if someone else can validate that, feel free. And I see Simon from InfoSec Live is tuned in. Thanks, Simon, for being here. So Dryden has a fantastic profile, and just overall, I'm hoping that Austin's profile and I'm hoping that Drayton's profile can give you an example of just really good profiles. And the thing is, here's what I'll tell you. Don't ever try to be like somebody else. Be yourself, right? Don't copy. Don't plagiarize. But if you see something that works and you see a style, there's nothing wrong with using that same style. But be honest, be transparent, and be yourself. So Austin, any questions from you at this point? Is there anything that you would like to add to this conversation?
I think one of the only other things I would add a little bit about, getting connected with you and speaking with you more, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the things that, it can be a little bit intimidating to figure out, how many followers do you have now? Do you have 60,000 yet? You're close.
I think it's like 58,000 something.
Yeah,
I'm having trouble getting across the 60,000 mark. I hate the word followers. I like this. I like to just think of them as connections because I truly do try to have relationships with these people. But go ahead.
Yeah, but so as someone who was newer, my mentor, you were actually the first person that he mentioned to try to reach out to on LinkedIn and follow. So I didn't even know about connections. So the only thing I did was follow for a while.
Gotcha.
But, it can be intimidating to figure out how, you would even get into contact with someone that has as many people trying to get into contact with you as you do. And, one thing that I tried to do is that you mentioned that, like you shared your YouTube channel at the one point a little while ago. And I felt like I had some knowledge regarding that.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to you and, told you a couple things, told you to shoot a little bit higher than you were.
You did. Absolutely.
And,
I remember that.
Yeah. So I did that. And then you also talked about how you were on Twitter as well.
Yep.
And, I don't really, have a big following on my personal YouTube channel. I've worked with other ones before.
Yeah.
And I don't really post anything on Twitter. I usually just reply to people's stuff. But, it's harder to get in contact with you on a platform like LinkedIn where there's all these other people. But, I'm also you've shared all these other methods of getting in contact with you. So
Smart
anybody
man.
listening, you want to talk to, Mike here, go follow him on Twitter or follow him on YouTube where there's not 50,000 people trying to do that, and I felt like I've been able to develop a better relationship with you, get to know you better and get in contact with you better by following you on these other platforms too,
Yeah,
so
yeah. I think that's a really good point. And you're right.
yeah.
If you message me on Twitter right now, I'm probably gonna see the message pretty quick. If you message me on YouTube right now or comment, I'm gonna see it probably right away because my YouTube channel, I don't have, a huge following. But
Yep.
here's what I will tell everybody. We talk about gaining connections, and again, I always use the analogy of every connection is a seed that you want to grow into a garden. But at the end of the day, I don't care if we have 100 connections, 1,000, 50,000, or 250,000. We're all the same people. At the end of the day, we're all people trying to do things for the better good, right? I want to help as many people as I wanted to help, a year and a half ago. The only problem is that I don't see all the messages now on LinkedIn. I get them all, but I get 100 to 200 a day. They get buried. People get mad. I get messages from people that are really mad because I haven't responded yet. And I'm like, you sent the message 2 hours ago. I haven't seen it yet. What I will tell you though is don't be afraid to pester me. If you've messaged me and I haven't responded, hit me again. Get to the top. Be that if I'll oil the squeaky wheel. If you message me a couple times and you're at the top of my inbox, I'm probably going to answer a little bit quicker. So, I'm a human. I want to help. And Austin's exactly right. So everyone has something that they can offer. So Austin reached out to me, several weeks ago when I talked about YouTube, and he actually offered me some really good pointers that I don't know if Austin, if you've picked up on. I took those pointers and and it's helped me. Now I have taken a little bit of time off because life's just gotten crazy here. But I love that. I love what you said. Don't be afraid to reach out. It makes an absolute huge difference. So. All right, at this time, I'm going to stop my screen share here, and I feel like, and Austin, you can stay if you want to. I feel like I owe it to these awesome people who've been asking questions. I'm going to go back through, and if I missed them, I apologize, but keep shooting them at me. It's a long way to scroll up to see all of these. So, but let's see here. Here comes one from Dominic. It says, here's a question. If the education you have is completely irrelevant to cybersecurity, should you not include it? Here's what I'll tell you, Dominic. That's a great question. I hope you're still here. Be proud of what you've done in your life. I don't care if you were a restaurant manager, if you were a bus driver, whatever it is, any experience in education you have makes you a well-rounded person. Always be confident to share those experiences that you have through your life, right? I have done several things outside of cybersecurity that I'm proud of. So, absolutely share those things. I think that can be a huge help for you. So,
one person who says a lot of really good stuff about that is Kevin Apollinaro.
He's awesome.
Every week he's making a post talking about how just customer service is a relevant skill and IT, and just, you would be surprised. You probably do have some relevant cybersecurity experience from your previous education, even if you don't think so.
You know what's most important in cybersecurity? Communication, right? Communication is extremely important, and soft skills. And nothing develops you better than some really tough jobs that you have to communicate well and help build your soft skills as well. So, any other questions in here? Feel free to roll them in. And let's see here. I'm just going to go back up. Forgive me here. Let me read this one here from Danielle. something I learned early on. If you're a salesperson, sales hiring managers will look at the number of connections you have. If you don't have 500 plus connections showing your profile, that may be a deterrent. I could totally see that. And it's a shame that people rate you off of numbers, off the number of connections you have. Here's what I would tell you. I mean, yes, obviously we all want to have as many connections as we can get, but I would rather have 300 very loyal connections, right? And I don't even want to call them connections. I'm going to call them relationships, than to have 10,000 connections or followers that we don't have relationships or that aren't loyal. So yeah, I could totally see that. Let me read this one here. Let's see. When you get a connection request from someone you don't know, but feel they're just going to sell you something, should you accept? This is a tough one. So here's what I'll tell you. As of right now, I accept any connection request that I get. If I get a connection request and I get a message right after it with them trying to sell me something, here's what I'll tell you. Depending on their tactic, it depends, because everyone, I try to be a friendly person in my life. I've been a salesperson in my life, and I can tell you that I respect people that are trying to make a living, right? But it's all about tactic. If they're going to be rude or force me into something, that's a different story. But if they reach out to me in a way that I feel is respectful, I might not block them. And I've actually messaged people back and said, I'm not interested at this time, but man, you have a great tactic. That was very strategic. Good job. It helps to be friendly sometimes, because this is a small industry and you just don't know who you're going to come across, right? So Tracy says quality, not quantity, and I feel that that's extremely important as well. So I think that's probably about it for today's show. Austin, I really appreciate you coming on and spending the time. Drayton, I know you're out there, maybe watching. Thank you for letting us review your profile. I am serious about the part of, if you take the time today and you write down your metrics, followers, impressions, keep track of that. Hold yourself accountable. Try to grow every day. Try to grow every week. You're going to have good weeks. You're going to have bad weeks. I can tell you my stats sometimes are really good. Sometimes are really bad. But in the end, I'm not going for the vanity of the number of followers or traffic. I'm going to spread my message. That's what my purpose is. So I thank everybody once again, GRC Academy, for sponsoring the show, and also Appalachia Technologies. If you do check out GRC Academy, and I'm just going to share this real quick, go to the link grcacademy.io/Mike. You actually Jacob Hill, who owns it, is actually giving a really nice discount if you want to take that class and learn about GRC. Great guy. I've had actually some really good conversations, and I only mention those in my show that I can truly stand behind, and he is just an outstanding individual. So Austin, thank you so much for being as awesome as you are. For everybody watching the show, thank you. I'm humbled every time we do these, for that you take the time and you trust the knowledge that we're putting out. So thank you, everybody. Austin, thank you, and have a fantastic day.
Thanks, you too.